bring in James Ham of the Insiders. James, before we get into last night's game and tonight's game, for those that are watching and listening, there's a bunch of packages behind me with Jiffy Lube logos on them. They're wrapped. What are these presents behind me?
It's a Jiffy Lube Christmas.
Ooh.
It's a Jiffy Lube Christmas on the Insiders.
So I'm just like say, KC, D'Lo, James, Kyle, Jesse.
They're not for us.
It works out perfectly.
It does.
What?
They're not for us.
When are we opening these presents that are behind me? Are these our presents?
No, they are presents for the listeners. I think what we're going to do, I think on Monday, we're going to open one and see what it is. And then it'll kick off a really, really cool giveaway that we're going to have during the month of December, building up to Christmas.
Can I shake it?
You can try to shake one. It's not light.
It's not. Oh,
it's not.
Oh my gosh!
Look at that.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
Light.
Hold on. I want to.
Wow.
Hold on. I want to check it.
Hey, there's more stuff.
No.
Oh. Okay. Careful. Don't move it too much because I don't think. Oh, I didn't even know. Hey. Oh, okay.
Don't touch until Christmas.
I'm tuning into the Insiders on Monday.
That's right.
All right, Hammer. I see you. Shout out Jiffy Lube.
Yeah,
shout out Jiffy Lube.
Big
amazing, right?
Yeah, I like that.
You sure our names aren't on those?
Those packages magically showed up. I think
I could easily put our names on it. There's a perfect number. I just say James, Kyle, D'Lo, Casey, Jesse.
There we go.
We just won't tell Charlie. We got it.
That's right. We just won't tell Charlie. We'll leave Charlie out in the cold.
We'll have something else for Charlie.
All right.
Hey,
James.
are you guys gift wrappers or bag people? I can't.
Depends
rap
on
to
the
save my
occasion.
life.
Oh, I'm a rapper.
You can rap. You guys.
Yeah.
I can't rap to save my
James
life.
just said he's a rapper.
Yeah.
Just so
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Very good.
I rap everything.
Ham bars coming.
It just keeps getting worse. I need to stop saying that word.
James,
Wow.
yesterday, Golden One Center, halftime. How you
Ooh,
feeling?
oof. Lord have mercy.
I didn't even get up from my seat.
I noticed that. I came over, gave Jake a big hug, gave Matt George a big hug, saw Antonio Harvey. I was like, did James sneak out? There's no way James snuck out the other way.
I didn't run downstairs and get a halftime hot dog.
Well,
I didn't grab a cookie or refill my hot tea. No, I sat there with Sean Cunningham and like we are
free.
we are the
what did you think of the halftime performance?
I put my earbuds in.
Oh no, you missed out.
Oh no, I didn't.
You missed out.
I didn't miss out on anything. I saw
We'll
it.
play you the unedited version as soon as we go off the air.
Yeah, I was like, what in the world is happening? And I asked Sean, I'm like, who is this?
I bet Sean knew.
What are we
I bet
doing
Sean
here
knew who
on
that was.
on a Tuesday night? Like, I'm totally baffled.
Get your money while you.
I was turned
Yeah.
up. I was like,
I guess I have no idea what was happening. It was like Sean and I, we're the like the two old guys on the Muppets who sit up in the little booth and we're like curmudgeons when we're watching a game. Sean was actually positive this game. He kept saying, "Oh no, I think they'll get it down to less than 20 before half." And then we were in the third. He says, "I think they'll be down less than they'll get it single digits before the end of the third." And I was like, "I don't think so, man." And sure enough, they kept figuring it out. And I don't know, like that was a fun game to watch. It was a fun game to be there in the building for. But yeah, I thought the whole time, like we were watching, it was 24. You're like, okay, can they make a run and get it to 10 just to make sure that they somehow get into the tournament? And then I thought, man, is it going to get crazy? Like it's going to bounce back and forth between like 10 and 15, like forever. And you're like, oh, it's over 12. It's less than 12. And I figured Steph would like drill a 3-point shot with like 0.3 seconds left to make it like a 12-point win for the Warriors. But no, they just kept fighting. I think like valiant effort by the Sacramento Kings and way to come out on top.
Yeah.
Real quick before we dive deeper into that game, you've seen them all, James. Was that a top 5 win at the Golden One Center? With the ones we've talked about were game 1 and 2 of the playoffs, the Herder shot, the bogey shot over the Lakers, and then last night.
I don't think it makes top 5 because there's the go get DeMarcus Cousins game.
That is a great
That was the
one.
Golden One Center?
Yeah, that is a
Yeah.
great one.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought of
That
that
is a
game
great
earlier,
one.
but in my head, that was at Arco.
Yeah, no.
Damn, hey, well, look,
that was
kind of-
all. Yeah, that.
I
man.
hate to do this. Maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment. I don't feel like bogey.
That's the
game
one
might
I
need
would
to
take
go.
out too. I think I'd take bogeys out.
Bogey
too.
Yeah, the
game.
bogey game winner.
I'd take the bogey game
might
winner
go.
out.
I think because Warriors, the Kings are good. The Kings weren't good when both. Well, we thought they were good. Actually, they were still lingering around 500 around Christmas on that bogey shot. So they were good-ish, but they're good now. Warriors in season tournament down 24. I think that plays a role into it too. They were down 24 in this game, came all the way back to win that game. I think it might go above.
Was that the F It We Deserve It game, or was that a different game?
No, that was at Houston.
Did Belly hit the shot?
Yeah, Belly hit.
Okay.
Hit the game winner at Houston.
Oh yeah,
I remember Belly was the one who said it, but I was like, did Belly hit the shot? I
Well,
can't remember.
Yeah, he did.
and I think Fox hit. Yeah, Fox hit a game winner over Joel Embiid to beat the 76ers.
His rookie year, I remember that. Yeah.
That was a game where Willie Cauley-Stein just couldn't talk about anything but his offense, even though he had. He was asked,
why Willie catching this?
Why
Willie catching this today?
we asked Willie about his defense on the final 2 plays, which was spectacular. And the first thing he says is, "Oh yeah, I think I can be Porzingis. I think I can be the unicorn."
Live.
We're like,
Let that man live.
What question are you answering? I'm confused. Like, what is happening here? Yeah, so that was a great game. Didn't we have there was a Buddy Hield one where
All buddies were on the road.
Are you sure all of them were on the road?
Denver and
Was the
Detroit
Kobe
were
game on the road?
Kobe game.
That
was
was
in
on the road.
Minnesota.
That was
That
on
was
the road.
in Minnesota. Yep. Where's the one where he jumped over
Detroit.
the camera cable?
Detroit.
Okay. Yeah, that was wild. Huh.
I think this is a top 5 game.
Yeah,
Was
because
that Run Buddy Run, or was that a different? I
Scout,
still don't know what the hell Mark was talking about at the end of that game.
No, that was
Buddy,
he stole the game. He stole the game. from
Buddy
your
ball
boy.
call game, I believe was
Run,
that was-
Buddy, run.
That was Mark. The other one was your boy.
that was my boy.
You stole the game. He stole the game.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
I just love that if you don't like that, now belongs to Drewski. Drewski was like, that's mine. James hates this whole conversation. You heard it too. I know you heard it too.
Top 5 though. Top 5.
Drewski, is that
last
the night.
commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Oh
the
yeah, no,
commercial.
I was like, I brought the wife in. I'm like, hey, is this intellectual property theft here? Because I think that is.
Only if he registered it.
Well,
I can imagine.
Only if
I
he
can imagine
registered
him
it.
doing that.
I could imagine him doing that too because
Well, he named his podcast that his dumbass better of.
yeah,
I'm serious. If you're gonna register your podcast under a name, you better own that name.
Trisky said it's mine now.
Hey, well, no.
But no, I mean, they've had some good moments there. But you're right, cuz come back out here.
Yeah,
Is in the
I
top 5.
absolutely thought that.
I
Was
think
Arco.
this is bigger than the bogey win. I'll
Okay.
say it. I'll say it.
Yeah, I mean, this could be number 1 by the time next Thursday gets here.
you know
Right.
what?
This team going to Vegas in the tournament finals against the Pacers for the battle of trade machine supremacy. Then
That's right.
yeah, this could be the biggest game in history.
I the one good thing about this win is the Warriors just when they're up, they are some punks, man. They do not act like they've been there before. They got a strut to them. They're clowning you. Draymond Green hit the 3 and went over to the bench and was like in their face.
Didn't
but-
hit another one.
But Clay was the same way. Like there's this arrogance to them.
Did you see the Steph
kinda
Curry
doing
Trey
his-
Lyles play?
Yeah, just like
Amazing.
all of it. So you're like, man, I don't really care one way or another because I'm here to cover a game as a journalist, but somebody needs to shut these dudes up. And sure enough,
Malik Monk said, "I got you."
Got
Yeah.
him. They I always remember when they, I don't know why this sticks out to me, but it's something they always do. They always do. Like what you talk about, they always do. I remember when Steph shook the hell out of Dylan Brooks this year.
Mhm.
And the way they acted,
Mhm.
the way Steph acted after that,
Mhm.
you know, the golden boy, Steph, he was not this old humble, you know, guy in that
If
situation.
Dylan Brooks had thrown Steph into the fourth row, I would have had no problem with it. Absolutely
Yeah,
none. He
that's
did a lot. Like
ridiculous.
Steph did a lot on
Yeah.
that play.
And I know that I've talked to you guys about this, but the Steph Curry kickout play.
Mhm.
First of all,
Does a 90%
Insane
of the time.
that Steve Curry challenged that.
it's insane that he challenged it. Secondly, challenge it for a flagrant foul on Steph
Yep,
Curry.
yep.
Secondly, when is the league going to actually say something to him about falling down on the floor and he is going to hurt somebody? Like, I don't understand. He almost hurt Sasha Vezenkov on that play. Like, what is going on here that you fall down and just flop on the floor on every 3-point
They
shot?
get rewarded for it.
I guess,
that's
man.
why they get the officials fall for it. They fell for it with Clay, or I don't remember who was guarding him. I feel like it was Malik, but they fell for it with Clay in the second quarter, I think.
I'm excited to see the NBA, the release from the NBA about how they fined Draymond Green for flopping.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting.
Because
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he had like a near-death experience.
He did,
Clearly,
yeah.
I mean, like I thought.
Until Steve Kerr said, "Get your ass up." Oh, okay.
No, he was
I'm
right by the
okay.
Kings bench. I was waiting for like the ghosted Chemesi Metu to go out there and start CPR on the guy. Like, what exactly is happening here? Like, JaVale, somebody go start CPR on the dude. I think he's dead. Like, what an absolute embarrassment.
That was
I just like, what are
that
you
was
doing?
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
To your point about Steph Curry, though, Steph Curry is unbelievable. He's unbelievably great.
He is.
He's one of the greatest we've ever seen. When he makes shots that way, I can't express how difficult it is where you're not straight, you know, and you can still make the shot. Like, I get it. He kicks his legs either to the front or out to the side. 90% of the time he's taking a shot. That's a foul. That's a foul. You can't do that. You can't kick out. And not only is it's a foul on Steph Curry, was what I'm saying. And not only does he not get the foul call, they call it on the defense sometimes.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the one time because I think a lot of this is because the game, we as kids now, they don't play multiple sports, right? So an AAU basketball, like sometimes they play multiple sports, but for the most part, like we've talked about, like my son's plays soccer. My oldest played, I don't know, 500 games. Like all he did was play soccer. But like you throw him a football, it's not great. You watch him play basketball, it's not great. So like we get to this point though where there are things you learn in other sports that translate, right? Like not to go over the middle in the football. It doesn't matter what grade you're in. If you go over and there's a mean dude in the middle of the field, he's going to clean you. And you're gonna like be wiped out and you're gonna lay there on the ground like, oh my gosh, what just hit me? You also know that if you go into second base hard, if you try to slide through the bag, there's a good chance that dude's going to hit you with a knee or he's going to slap his glove down or there could be a fight at second base.
Yeah.
I think that that's part of what's happened here where the NBA, like so many of these players, they don't have those unwritten rules of other sports. If I'm telling you, if I was running out on a shooter and he flopped on the deck like that, like I'm going like atomic knee drop on the dude. Dude, I'm going off the top rope. Look, oh, you're going to fall in front of me. Oh, I tripped and boom, I hit you. Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Drop the macho man elbow on him.
I don't know why your head bounced off the floor.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but it could be because I body slammed you in the middle of you flopping.
I'll give you something to be on the floor about.
No, that's
you want to be on the floor. I'll give you a reason to be on the floor.
No, that's where I'm at. Like if you did that in baseball, you go out to a softball field, man, some dude goes into second base hard. Like, them are fighting words. Like, so I think that there's a lack of like respect for what's happening on the court. Like, again, all the flopping, all of the overacting, like again, with the Chris Paul dropping on the deck and flopping like a fish. Like he's SpongeBob SquarePants out there. You're like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I love every time De'Aaron's like,
that is one of my new favorite De'Aaron Fox.
What are we doing here? But that's because I just think that there isn't first of all, you can't punch somebody, which
frowned upon.
sometimes somebody needs that.
Yeah.
They need to learn the laws of the
We just
the
don't
road.
encourage violence here on D-Lo and
Well-
Casey. Not that we don't understand your point.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, every once in a while, someone's got to get punched in the jaw.
Somebody does.
Draymond Green lives by that.
Every once in a while, somebody's got to get, I guess, jumped on your chest. I guess.
Well,
Like,
that too. That's another more
don't
of
know.
Draymond's life
I don't
lessons.
know. But for him to be the guy who's laying there dead on the ground,
Now,
like,
that was crazy,
an all-time.
especially
Bro.
from a flop.
the whole time it's a flop, and then he comes back
And
he
he's
gets it,
fine. He's
and then-
miraculously healed.
and then it's like someone like, you have been healed. Thank you, Jeebus.
You have seen the power. And he pops up.
But at the same time, I'm like, what is happening here? And then he comes down and he gets his technical. He won't stop yapping about it and like, dude, you flopped. And what made it worse is like 45 seconds before, Sasha Vezenkov they reviewed a play to see if he flopped.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, where's the
yeah.
other flop
Yeah.
thing? Why aren't we looking at that? So
Mm.
I if I'm the NBA,
Which I didn't like that call, by the way. I thought it was a charge on Andrew Wiggins, and they called it a block. Thought
there
it
was
ridiculous they
a
called it
little
foul.
bunny hop there by Sasha. Like he kind of like hopped right at the last second and then yeah.
That's a play on. That's either a charge or a play on. I don't think that's a block. That's never called a block. That's called a charge or a play on all the time.
But then for them to like look at it for flopping, like,
Yeah,
come
that's
on, man. The
bizarre.
guy made contact either way. He knew he did. And Corey Joseph sat there and set those crazy screens where I don't know. It looked like he magically appeared like 4 times and the Kings ran him over. And then they just kept getting the call. It was like, oh no, that's legit. Like Corey Joseph just almost got killed. Like I don't know what was happening where they magically found that play.
Right.
And I mean, he doesn't hardly ever play. So where did he come up with that? Like, I'm going to go stand right here
Oh.
and draw a charge.
Yeah, there was very much a holy crap. Corey Joseph is on the Warriors
Corey
play.
Joseph.
Yeah.
You brought up
Shout out,
Sasha.
Coach O.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sasha's impact last night as he played. Kenny and I we did the math. 0 minutes before coming into the game into the third quarter, where he then played the final 15 and had a massive impact on the outcome.
This is the Trey Lyles effect.
Mm.
It is. They went small ball five, a guy who can pass, a guy who can space the floor. All of a sudden, everyone looked better. So, like we've talked about this a bunch of times. The guy who has to have the pick and roll rim runner is Malik Monk, and he thrives with a guy like JaVale or a guy like Chimezie Metu. Like these are types of players that. But when the Warriors cut that off, Mike Brown, I thought this was one of Mike Brown's best coaching jobs I've seen. First of all, they got punked early. Your team, I don't even think it was that they weren't ready. I think the Warriors just didn't miss for a long time. And you had a couple of mistakes. Next thing you know, it snowballed, right? But he played 12 players, 7 players off the bench. When Davion Mitchell wasn't working, he went to Keon Ellis. When JaVale McGee wasn't working, he went to Trey Lyles at the 5 and went with Sasha Vezenkov alongside Trey Lyles. I didn't know if that tandem would work. Holy cow, that worked.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because you were able to run the same exact offense through Trey. And that's while Sabonis is struggling. He can't get any spacing at all. Man, I'm telling you, the Trey Lyles return, this is going to be one of those things that it's a underlining thing that goes really unnoticed for most of the season, but it can change this team into a big time, like top tier Western Conference 1, 2, 3 seed contender. I'm not saying title contender. I'm saying his presence it just gives so much more versatility to this roster. It allows a player. We talk about how De'Aaron Fox wasn't De'Aaron Fox until Sabonis got there. This is really, it's like a secondary thing. It's like at a lesser level, it's their second unit did not look like the right second unit until you got Trey Lyles back. And he makes guys like Sasha better. He makes guys like Malik Monk better. He makes all of them better. And that's a big deal to have a role player, a rotational guy who has that type of impact on a game. I think it's really cool. Even like, I think he will really help Chris Duarte when Chris Duarte moves back to the second unit. That's a player he can play, that can play off of Trey Lyles. And I will have to see how it all works out, but hopefully Trey's healthy and able to keep rolling like this because he's been really impressive.
Yeah, I'm a big Trey Lyles guy over here for sure. I talked about it earlier, and I want to get your opinion on it, James. The Kentucky connection, Fox and Monk. When those two get going the way they did last night, I think they had 50 plus points last night together. When those two get going the way they are, I think it's one of the more lethal tandems in the NBA right now. I think what they pose with their ability to get to the basket, to do things off the bounce, big shot makers, I think that's just as formidable as Durant and Booker or Luka and Kyrie or anything like that. I think they have that level of impact. I think, and more importantly, I think other teams are aware of that. They're like, hey, we got to make sure we're locking down one of them because we can't let them both get going because it's going to be a long night. Do you see them that same way? It's weird to say with a starter and a bench player, but do you see them that same way when they get cooking in that Kentucky connection mode like that?
I don't know where they rank amongst the other duos, but what I will tell you is that when you watch them play, they're having two playmakers on the court at one time makes the Kings so incredibly difficult to stop because the other guys are either like Sabonis, who's setting crazy screens and setting everybody up, or it's great shooters, right? So you've got shooters all around. When you have two playmakers, it's really difficult to like figure out where to slow down. Like how do you stop this versus that? And like if they start doing pick and roll on one side and then all of a sudden they kick it out to De'Aaron Fox and he starts running at the rim after you've already collapsed the defense on one side, it just makes it really, really difficult to stop. But I think what's unique about these two is that they allow each other to find success all the time. Like we're going to watch a team tonight that can't figure out how to like share the ball, right? Just because you get assists doesn't mean that you share the ball. And I know that that's kind of a weird thing, but we're going to see a team that almost has to take turns with four guys. Like it's your turn for 5 minutes. Now it's your turn for 5 minutes. There isn't a like fluidity to what's happening on the court, and it feels like segmented and like kind of choppy. And that's why they're not very good. Like the Clippers, they have great pieces, but they're not very good as a whole, right? You look at the Dallas Mavericks, they're starting to build some of that chemistry, and that's why they got off to a hot start. But overall, I think you're always going to come down to the fact that Luka is such a selfish player. He just is. And again, he can get 10 assists every night, but that doesn't mean that he's actually involving people. It just means that somebody scored like because he drew all the attention because no one thought he was going to pass the ball, and then he found a guy who was wide open for a dunk. So when I look at the tandem of Fox and Monk, it's just that they're so unique because they've known each other since they were kids. They like to play with each other. They like to like figure out ways to set each other up and, the highlight reel dunks and everything else. But at the end of the day, it's just hard to rank them because they aren't two starters. They're not a starting backcourt. And I know even that question was asked of Mike Brown last night about Malik Monk, like maybe being a starter. And I'll say the same thing Mike says every time. This is the perfect role for Malik Monk. Like Malik Monk, like he owns the second unit. It's his. It's him and four other dudes, whoever those dudes are. You don't know from one night to the next. But he has so much more opportunity playing with that unit than he would with De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes. I mean, we're lucky Harrison Barnes can't get 8 shots half the games. And you think just sliding Malik Monk, like there's only one ball. You need to share. You need to be able to, it's got to be about a team. And that's why I think the Kings are really uniquely built as one of the high tier teams, and that they aren't just all focused on, they're not just so star driven. Sure, they're driven by their 2 stars, but the other guys are also really good. It's not complementary pieces as much as it is like really good pieces that fit into a puzzle.
We'll come back. We'll talk much more about the Sacramento Kings By the way, this is all fun. Kings play in 3 hours, 3.5 hours. We'll talk about the
tired.
Kings and the Clippers tonight with our insider, James Ham of the Insiders, here on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. So you can't extend Monk. You have to wait until the offseason. But
just do it.
Do it.
Hey, man, figure out a way. Figure out a way.
I wrote about this. Kings can offer Monk, like, it's a 4-year, like almost $80 million contract. So, like, if he wants to stay, the money is going to be pretty solid. Like, he might be able to get a little bit more money somewhere else, but there's also a possibility that that there's not an opportunity out there. So this is a good spot for him. He's saying the right things right now, which is, let's just play this out. Everything will take care of itself. The chips will fall where they may. That's fine.
That's the right approach.
Like, Kieran Nabeem, like, is he going to get more than 17? I mean, maybe. Like, there might be, but, like, it's a bad range because if you're going to pay Monk more than 17, that means you can't use your mid-level exception. So you have to have somebody with pure cap space that believes that he is a guy that will change things for them. And I don't know. Like, is he a starting level 2? I don't know. I certainly know he's better than Jordan Poole. And Jordan Poole got paid, but I don't think anyone else would have paid Jordan Poole that kind of money. Let me see. What's going on, guys? Roughly quiet all of a sudden.
Sorry, I'm just responding to a message about potential advertising stuff.
Jordan. Yeah. Austin Reeves got a 4-year $55. Yeah, the Kings can offer Monk more than that. The starting salary is at 17 and a half. It might be 83 million. It's either 78 or 83 million they can offer him over 4 years. He's an early bird player, but his early bird is different than other early birds.
All these damn birds. Yeah, Kenny will kill you.
I didn't kill anybody.
Jesse, how many dead birds showed up at your house over the summer?
None, but me and the birds don't like each other, so we stay away from each other.
James, you have any dead birds at your house over the summer?
I don't know. Every once in a while, one smacks a window. Is that what we're talking about?
No. Kenny just offs birds like he's
I didn't do nothing to the birds.
Kenny
They're already
Corleone.
dead. I'm trying to scrape. I don't even want them around.
Yeah, we know. That's why you kill them.
Yeah, how many dead birds were just answer the just with the number. How many dead birds were at your house over the summer?
I think it was 3. I told you I let them live.
Hey, I don't want to know, man. Plausible deniability, dog.
I let them live.
La 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 la.
And they fall out the nest.
Hey, look at now. 610 people in here are all witnesses to the confession.
It's actually very.
Now we're all culpable to the crime.
3 means you're a serial bird killer, bro.
Wow, Kenny Bundy over here.
I don't have any problem with birds.
That's not what it sounds like.
Got love for them.
How much do you like eagles?
I hate
them. Kenny was so on edge. My man said, "Hey, I love your show." He thought he said I love the Eagles, and Kenny was confrontational with him for 20 minutes. He's like, "You an Eagles fan?" He's like, "What? No, I'm not. Since when? I'm not an Eagles fan. What you talking about?"
Funny thing is, it was a 12-year-old kid Kenny was yelling at.
Yeah, little kid left crying.
Kid gotta learn. I wish it was that kid that flicked that guy off. I wish that kid would have done that to me. Oh, I wish that.
What kid?
The Eagles fan kid.
I
wish.
That's funny. Come on, it's a little kid.
Yeah, it'll be funny what I say to him too.
Oh, well.
That's fair game too, though. The kid, if the kid wants
It'll be
to,
funny what the
yeah,
hell I
if you
got
want
to
to play
say
with the
back.
big boys.
Oh man, Joe Flacco's moved up to QB2 for the
That's
Browns.
crazy.
That guy might start this weekend.
He's going to get Joe Flacco's going to throw a pass in an NFL game this week.
Mm.
I feel like we're one Schefter tweet away from Aaron Rodgers starting at quarterback for the New York Jets this weekend.
What was the exact wordage? Something about Christmas Eve. Like he's doing.
So his
light,
practice window opened up.
He's doing light practice,
And of course, they just happened to have video of Aaron Rodgers practicing today.
Did you see Schefter's tweet earlier too,
luck,
kind of covering the bases? Like, it's not saying he's gonna come back. Like, there's also a high chance that he just doesn't come back at all. Like, this is all.
Well,
kind
there's
of for
probably
show.
a certain point where it's not worth it.
Right. They're not making the playoffs.
Like, yeah, like if
Got no
you
shot.
say, and that's the other thing. You're gonna put Aaron Rodgers out there. You're really blaming Zach Wilson for all of this, which is fine. I understand Zach Wilson has not been good. Okay. That man's going to get decimated. Not because he's injured, not because he's not great, but because that offensive line is awful.
Yeah.
And he can't run. That's
man.
probably one. Hey, stay as stationary as you can. Use that cannon of an arm. But if you got to escape, bro, just fall. Just look like Brett Favre, Michael Strahan coming for you. Just hit the ground.
You're gonna come back
or take a Draymond Green bump. Just fall.
3 months from an Achilles tear to the MetLife turf.
Come on, man.
Wow.
Didn't they get another person?
Jalen Phillips, yeah, from Miami. He blew his Achilles out on Friday.
Gracious. Yeah, just
Did you see that though? Like that one, he just he didn't even take his step.
He didn't get to it just as soon as he just
like he just went to lean forward. It's like, oh, he's down. Sorry, Kenny.
Kenny, close your eyes.
Man.
Yeah, that's just don't do it, Aaron. Just don't do it.
I think there's a lot of showmanship going on with this though. Like I'm
Right. I
not
think
like
so,
along
too.
the lines of like he didn't tear his Achilles like the Lebitard show. Like he did that. Like it's torn, but I think there's a lot of showmanship going on.
Yeah, I agree. Showmanship with the Kings yesterday. You know, two things that we didn't talk about. Two things that I think are pretty interesting, pretty noteworthy. Is one, Mike Brown's remarks about De'Aaron Fox and being a two-way player.
Oh yeah,
And he's 100%.
Shout out to Webster's.
Shout out to Webster's. He's 100% correct. De'Aaron Fox, Mike Brown laid it all out. Everything that he was asked to do last night, but he's out there guarding Steph Curry.
DPOG, by the way. I don't know that we mentioned that.
Yeah, got the crown. Shout out Ann Fong. But I mean, this is what I always talk about with him. And when you talk about Steph, Ja, Trey, Dame Lillard, all these other guys, they're never asked to do what De'Aaron Fox is asked to do. Look at that game last night. Who was guarding De'Aaron Fox? It was Clay. Poor Clay. Can't even move no more. They still sticking him on De'Aaron Fox. Clay, Wiggins. GP2. You know, all in the clutch. Steph, I don't know who the hell Steph was guarding at the end. He wasn't guarding Monk or Fox. I don't know where he was at. Might have been on Herter. And I'm not saying Steph ain't great. I'm just saying
he's protected.
No other point guard is asked to do what De'Aaron Fox does or what De'Aaron Fox insists to do.
What I liked is that Mike Brown basically gave De'Aaron like 3/4 off. He just had him defend Draymond. And then when he needed him late in the game, he went, all right, you ready to guard Steph? Because I kept saying, like, in order for this, the Kings have to figure out a way to stop Steph. Somebody other than Steph has to beat you if you're the Sacramento Kings playing the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And I know that Andrew Wiggins gave it a shot, right? But at the end of the day, you don't fear him as much. Like, you think, oh yeah, he's a good player.
If he beats you, tip your hat.
Yeah, exactly. You got to figure out ways to not get beat by the one guy that can really, really beat you. And I thought that, sending a trap at him as soon as he crossed half court was spectacular. Mike and his staff, I think they did a really good job of even like you open the second half, you close the first half on a 7-0 run, right? So you're down 24, you cut it to 17 at the half, but it's a 7-0 run. Herder hits that little layup right as time expires. You come out in the second half, the first play, you run like a full court press and they get called for an 8-second violation. It just changed the entire like intensity of what's happening on the court. And next thing you know, they climb right back in the game. So I agree with Mike that the De'Aaron Fox has moments where he is a spectacular two-way player. There's other times where you're like, okay, although we haven't really had one of those moments this year where he just lets like 3 guys blow by him, or we had like the O'Connell game, right? Against Indiana, where you're just like, you can't get beat by TJ McConnell. I'm sorry, McConnell. You can't get beat by
Aiden.
Yeah.
I've been covering the Raiders too long.
Yeah, you can't get beat by TJ McConnell for like 14 points if you're De'Aaron Fox. That's not the way this thing works. You can't be a star and have that be something on your resume.
But
so it's different.
You can't. But this is what I always say, James, and this is my point. I mean, he is a human being. Nobody is asked to do the things he's asked to do. So there may be a time when you asked me to score 30, and now you want me to lock down on defense. TJ might get 14 on me tonight because I'm just maxed out.
Yeah.
Nobody outside of Kawhi, Paul George. Now we're getting into all these wings. None of these wings are asked to do what De'Aaron, and none of the point guards are asked to do what De'Aaron is asked to do.
Aren't.
None of them. They all hiding off in the corner somewhere and then just doing their offensive thing.
I think the one guy who has like stepped up in almost every aspect of the game that's out there who is doing De'Aaron Fox type stuff is, which I never thought I would say, is Devin Booker. Like he is doing a lot.
Facts.
Yeah. And so that's one guy where I would say, like, I mean, he's averaging like almost 9 assists per game. Like what he's doing on the court is really, really impressive. But for the most part, there aren't a bunch of two-way point guards, a bunch of two-way guards. And you're only going to be able to, if your guy is scoring 30 a night, which he's at 29-8 still, there are going to have to be moments where he's not defending the elite of the elite on the opposition. And even like putting him on Draymond, that's a risk. Like Draymond Green, I'm surprised didn't just try to back him down and bully him.
Well, he didn't have the game for that,
I guess. But I mean, he has some of that game, a little bit here and there, but like to just take that out of the way, I thought it was, again, Mike did a really good job of mixing and matching. Like I thought Harrison Barnes was really good early on. He went away from him, never came back to him. And it was like, hey, you riding the hot hand, you're sticking with Sasha,
something Steve Kerr said to hell with.
Yeah.
Let's take Moses Moody out.
But I think it plays to a bigger discussion that, Steve Kerr, like, let's just be honest. Steve Kerr made the mistake of going back to Klay Thompson.
Absolutely.
But he feels an obligation, especially when the day before you got Klay out there trying to start a fight with Tim Kawakami saying, hey, like, what do you want to bench me?
No, is that what you want to do? Fight Tim Kawakami a time or two.
Well, I mean, he'll just block you. I mean,
that's fact. That's what he'll do.
But
yeah,
but the standard is set. Like you can't bench him because he just said it the day before. Like, oh, what are you gonna tell Steve to bench me? Yep. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, well, Steve should have benched you.
Yeah, he probably should have. Like, Steve, you have a job to do too.
Yeah, his team probably should have won. Would have won if it wasn't for the fact that he swapped those two players.
I did wonder if Draymond Green was suspended for 6 games instead of 5, if the Warriors would be in the in-season tournament and we'd be fussy today. Yeah, we'd be Bonte Hill in the rain with an umbrella, and they'd be, doing Drake bars in San Francisco.
40 bars.
6-game suspension instead of a 5, and this might look completely different. I don't want to derail us too much from the game last night. There was an absence, and it was Keegan Murray. I was absolutely under my own impression that I built on no evidence at all that Keegan was going to come back tonight. He had gone through a practice. He gave an interview at least at Shoot Around, had a media scrum at Shoot Around, and I had just formed this theory of, okay, they want to see how he feels. He'll miss tonight. He'll be ready tomorrow, and he'll be full steam ahead for Denver and so on. You reported about an hour ago that in fact is not happening, and Keegan Murray is again out tonight. What do we know about Keegan? Is it SI irritation?
Yeah, it's an SI joint irritation.
What do we know about do we know anything about the practice and maybe his response to the practice?
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be the question, right? It's a low back issue, and you don't know how something like this is going to like respond. And clearly, it's not responding exactly the way that they had hoped. So they put him through a practice. You get to the next day. I thought like there was a shot that he would have gone to shoot around. And next thing you know, we would have had some buildup. You have to remember, though, that on games like on back-to-backs, there is no shoot around. So I assume that Keegan Murray's been at the practice facility getting treatment like most of the day. Like they're doing everything they can to get him back out on the court. But like as a guy who has back injuries and has all kinds of back problems, like you just don't know how it's going to respond until you get in there and you give him a practice, you have him take a couple of hits, like people running into him, and then you see what he looks like afterwards. And clearly he's just not ready. I don't think that they rushed him back to practice or anything. But this was an injury that we heard right away was, it's not very serious. So here we are like a week later, he's already missed like 3.5 games, right? He'll miss his 4th game tonight. And you hope that somehow he can return for the Denver game, but like we're gonna have to see how this thing plays out. You really want him to have a game under his belt or 2 before you get to the end-season tournament, which is just next week. So yeah, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. Because I'm like you, I thought he'd be back by now, both of you guys. And
with lower backs, it's never just like, oh, okay, good. It's always something you're probably monitoring moving forward.
Was that? No, was it? No, that was last week. It was last Monday. So we're going on 10 days, huh? Because it was in New Orleans.
It was, the second
before
half of the first New Orleans game.
Yeah, before. So that was Thanksgiving week. So we're going on 10 days.
Yeah, that's like the Sunday game. Yeah.
He's got them James handback problems now.
Oh, that's not good. No.
Well, Keegan Murray's career's over. That's the case.
But I also, I'll tell you,
every day, James is the most miserable person on the planet at 11:55 every day when he tries to stand up.
Yeah, standing up is the worst. It's the absolute worst.
That's really why he didn't go get his cookie last night. It wasn't the way the Kings were playing. He was watching Sugar Free, and he was like, I can't get up.
He's like, I'm just here.
I'm just here.
Hey, real quick, another thing about the Kings that I thought was...
Put him on in the car on your way home or on your way to the arena.
I may have made it like an off-cuff, like sugar-free. It's more like diabetes.
Oh.
Like, what is happening here? I may have said that, like... Dejan Chong just like looked at me. Like,
when I saw he was going to be the halftime show, I popped. I ain't gonna lie. I texted wifey. I was like, "Yo, Sugar Free gonna be at halftime." Sent the video and everything.
That's
Sugar Free is 53 years old.
Steve Francis, 53.
So another thing that Mike talked about that I thought is pretty cool about this team, and kind of goes to the rapport and the trust they have for each other, is he talked about how Malik Monk told them to stop crying to the officials. Did you hear what he said there? He said,
Hunter wrote about it.
Yeah. And Malik went over there and was like, y'all doing too much. Like, be quiet, let us play. You're not helping us by complaining. And not only did Malik say that, but they, as coach, had the wherewithal to say, all right, I'm going to listen to him. Maybe we are doing a little too much. And it just goes back to the rapport of that this team has, the coaching staff has with their players, the trust, the respect that these guys have. Mark talked about how Malik seems to be checking these guys a lot, but Malik checked them on his body language one time. It's like, hey, man, you always talking to us about body language. You got bad body language right now, man. Don't do that. Let's talk about it or whatever. Yeah. And I like that. I like that these guys can talk to each other and work things out that way sometimes.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting that, Malik only played 8 minutes in the first half.
He went to the locker room.
Well,
I didn't know that until...
I don't think that was an issue, though.
Okay.
Was he upset about something? Is that why? Like, did he go to the locker room to cool off?
I couldn't tell. I was just watching. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was interesting because Mike was asked about it in post game, and he said, like, look, that's not my job. My job is to go out there. When he tells me to go in the game, I go in the game. So I'm not here to get coached. I mean, I'm not here to be the coach. I'm here to get coached.
Mhm.
And so whatever's happening, like that's fine. Like it is what it is. Like,
Mhm.
so maybe he wasn't playing well. Maybe there was something that he was doing that Mike Brown had told him repeatedly not to do. But yeah, I think that there's a really good balance on this team, and they do even like there's communication between the coaching staff, between the players, and that's a good thing.
Mhm.
That's what you want. Even the Sasha thing, like who would have thought that he's barely playing, and then all of a sudden you just throw him in the game and you ride with him the whole time.
Mm.
But that's about communication. It's about like the guy is clearly learning your system now. You're starting to see that he's not in the wrong position all the time, and like he's starting to take strides,
Mhm.
and he's coming up with big plays. And as a coach, Mike Brown has to like put his players in positions to succeed. And sometimes he can see as a coach that a guy like maybe Malik Monk wasn't in a position to succeed in that first half. Maybe there was something that was going on which was leading them down a path that wasn't good. And so he makes a change. And, like, look, it's not always going to work out the way you hoped, and it's not always going to be perfect. But I think that the path that they're on, the system that they've built, the culture that they're building and establishing right now is something that we haven't seen in Sacramento since like the Rick Adelman era.
Yeah.
And it's also other things are developing out of that. Like all of a sudden we're starting to see a next man up mentality where I don't think that was there even last year. Last year it was 6 guys who played really, really well, and then a couple other guys that like started to fill in here and there. But you never had that moment where it was like you had everybody firing on the same page, and guys stepping into roles and finding success in a role that maybe they hadn't had before. This year feels a little different. Guys are starting to like build some momentum and figure out who they are and what they are to the team.
Like that.
What are the chances you think we get a normal basketball game tonight? Because I feel like this game tonight's going one of two ways.
Yeah.
It's a letdown, or holy crap, the Kings are feeling it.
Is this a schedule loss?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm just like, do we just get a normal 4-quarter hard-fought basketball game, or do we get like, Kings looked rough tonight, or oh man, they carried all of that momentum over to this one.
You would hope it'd be that. I mean, they
were
talking about it last night as they were doing the DPOG, the chain, the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, don't forget, we got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, Malik said that on the podium a couple times.
Well, but the last time they had a back-to-back, they got thumped.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, it was not a good look.
And every team in the league has back-to-backs. Like, you can't just write off 15 games a year and say
that was a road and travel, so it's a little different.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It was a back-to-back, and the schedule doesn't make distinctions, but that one was a smidge bit different.
No, I think it is, but like this is a game where you need to show up. Like, don't have an excuse. This is a team that's totally scuffling. Like, they're not playing well at all. You need to show them that, like,
they're playing better.
The Clippers?
Yeah, they are playing better.
Well.
That's a bone I had to pick with a couple people. Like they really focused on that Nuggets loss, which was a bad loss. But then the Clippers, everybody said something when they were 0-6 with James Harden, and they said something in the Nuggets game, and nobody even mentioned the Clippers when they won 4 or 5.
Wait, the whose Nuggets lost?
The Clippers lost to the Nuggets the other day.
That was a bad loss?
Jokic and Murray didn't play.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, neither Aaron. I don't think Aaron Gordon played either. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Reggie Jackson had like 35 or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was a bad loss, but nobody mentioned they had won 4 or 5 before that.
Yeah. What's the number 4 of 6? I think Will gave it to us earlier. 4 or 6, something
I
like
just
that.
say too, like we watched the Kings do something totally different last night with the way that they handled their big man rotation. You just watched DeAndre Jordan look like prime DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
I think I might need to see JaVale McGee and Malik Monk doing the pick and roll. Like I'm just saying.
Cut that. I want that. I want that sound for the soundboard. Yeah, I want that sound for the soundboard right there.
No, but I mean, if that's how they're gonna play defense in the pick and roll, okay.
You might need Alex Lynn to get Aaron Rodgers' doctor. This would be a perfect Alex Lynn game tonight.
Call Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, well, or whoever.
Ray Lewis.
Well, that's illegal. There's nothing illegal about Mr. Miyagi and that weird hand motion. James just
Get
had.
this one tonight, though, man. I mean, I
that'd
ain't
be
saying they're a
so-
pushover, but like they're
that'd be
not
so
playing
fire.
their best basketball right now. Go get this one at home.
I also,
it'd
like-
be so fire.
You remember last year how they got to 4 games over 500 like so many times and they couldn't get the 5th game?
Mhm.
They're already right there. This would be the 5th game. This would
Oh,
put them
what
over.
can he say last year?
They ain't gonna go back.
Yeah, gets 5, never look back. And I love the matchup with Denver. I did not like. I love the matchup for Sacramento. I love those two teams together. So I'm really looking forward to Saturday. Man, it would be nice to have a 2-game winning streak going into that game on Saturday.
Kings now 5-1 at home. Is that right?
Yes.
5-1.
Yep.
Home court starting to be
Yep.
home court.
Yep.
Boy, what if they were
5-1.
4-2 with their, or 5-2 with the 2 losses coming?
Let's be a
4-2
totally different show today.
with the 2
James.
losses coming against the Warriors.
I
At
have
home.
different show.
Completely different show.
Just saying.
Different show. We wouldn't be playing clips of Bonte Hill in the rain. That's for damn sure. we just sit here and say they beat our ass again. James, we appreciate you as always. Kings, Clippers tonight. Y'all know where to be. Tap in tomorrow, 10 a.m., beginning with James and Kyle on the Insiders. Maybe they can give us some clues about what these wrapped boxes are behind us.